Yet money is simply a means of trade. That's all it is. Everything that we could ever want on earth is freely provided for us. Every food we could ever want, all the material to build shelter, everything. Everything that we need is here, freely provided for us on this earth. And we could all get along fine. All we have to do is understand the connection we have to each other. Understand that we're all here to enjoy life, to live in abundance, and to live in health and happiness. But then came the governments, and they saw things different. They saw humanity packed into little boxes and told what to do, and controlled, and used to milk the earth of all of its resources in order that a few of them may live in abundance. And somehow along the way we all decided to go along with this, and the earth goes along being raped the way it is, simply because we comply with this ridiculous system. And this is where non-compliance comes in again, folks. And the best form of non-compliance is love. The best form of non-compliance is for people to understand the connection that they've got to each other, and to simply treat each other well and do the right thing in all that they do. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple when you just stand back and look at the earth and see how much turmoil and contrived war and conflict it's in, simply so the few can play their little game, so the ruling elite can play their little game. But it isn't the ruling elite that are doing it. We're doing it to ourselves. It isn't the ruling elite that go out and fight the wars. It isn't the ruling elite that work for the corporations or who police each other. That's all us. That's all the people. By keeping the population in a state of servitude and then attracting keepers and minders with the lure of power, we keep ourselves in check, we police ourselves. When people are kept in servitude, offering some of them power and thereby allowing them to rise from the ranks, so to speak, can be very alluring to these people. And many of them get caught in this energy. They get caught in the boost to false ego that it gives them. They get to feed off the fear of others. That feeling a person gets when they are in power over another person, when they have power over another person. This is what causes rapists to do what they do, serial rapists and serial killers and things like this. It's the perceived power that they get, the fear energy, from their victim. The more authority that is granted to police and the more authority that is granted to government, this is the same type of power. Now, we are all capable of the most heinous acts. Some of us won't admit it to ourselves, but deep inside, every person is capable of doing the most horrendous things, just as they are capable of doing the most wonderful and beautiful things. These are the two polarities of energy that make up all reality, the positive and the negative, what people would call light and dark or good and evil. But really what they are, as I've often said to you, are love and fear. That's what they are. If you can create a state of fear in others in order to feed off their fear energy, that's what a lot of these people do. That's what a lot of these rituals are about. And this is the energy that these police officers and people in positions of power are feeding off, is the fear energy. The fear energy of the victims of their acts. Whether they realize they're doing it or not, this is what many of them are doing. See, a lot of people don't do this sort of thing consciously. They're not evil people going out there to be energy vampires, waking up every day and saying, well, I'm going to go and suck energy from someone today. They're doing it unconsciously, because this is the way our societies have been structured, that people act in this way quite unconsciously. They don't realize what they're doing. This is why it's important to be aware of your emotions, like I've said on other shows. Understand what your intentions are. Understand what your emotions are and your intentions are. And when you interact with another person, treat that person as yourself. Understand your connection with that person and treat that person as yourself. If you can do that, that's where it all changes. That's where it all breaks down. And I believe many of them are actually also scared of ever having to face themselves. of ever having to relinquish the power that they have over others. I believe that they are addicted to this power, which is a lot of what makes them continue on the path that they're treading. I don't believe that we need to punish these people. These people need to be woken up to reality, and they simply need healing in some way. But nevertheless, the allure of power, it's a very addictive thing, folks. But the thing is that we feed these people. We are the ones who feed them this energy by complying with this system. But we could simply do things right. Of course, it's hard to just do on your own, and suddenly you're seen as a rebel. You're seen as an undesirable, possibly even labelled a terrorist with these new corrupt pieces of legislation that have been brought in by these governments. Pretty well anyone who questions the government can be labelled a terrorist, even though it is the governments that are the terrorists. So you've got to be careful there. This is why it's important to wake people up, because when we have enough people who wake up, we can simply look at our governments and basically sack them and put some people in charge who will do the right thing. I think it's imperative that we do that. That we put some honest people who are going to act in the best interest of the populations of this world and in the best interest of the planet into the power centres of the world. I think it's about time we realise that the people in our governments are not doing the right thing, and we need to also realise that they are answerable to us. And the only reason they get away with tying legal cases against these people up in red tape for years on end is because we choose to comply with this ridiculous system. And where did this system come from, folks? Well, the people in power just made it up. They just made it up, and then they forced everybody to go along with it. Back in the old days, they used knights and taxes and probably had a few public hangings and all that sort of stuff to get people nice and fearful of what would happen if you didn't comply. And then they've just kind of expanded it from that point, really. But however it's happened, and for whatever reason that this system is in place, the one thing that is painfully obvious is that this system doesn't work. It doesn't work because it does not serve the best interests of the people, nor does it serve the best interests of the planet. And in order to see that this is so, all you need do is look around at the state of the world, at the state of our governments, at the state of everything. All of it could be so easily fixed, but what is needed to fix it is a radical shift in consciousness. To look within yourself and to feel the connection to everybody and to everything else. To feel it right through your body, to feel it with every fibre of your being, every atom, everything that you are. To feel that connection with not only all the people around you, every soul in projection, but also with the earth itself and with the universe. The connection is there. If you will look inside you and see it, the connection is there. It may be hard for some people to see this, to be able to look that far within themselves, to be able to realize that within your body is a universe. As it's said in the book, The Four Agreements, you are made of stars. We are all made of stars. Understanding that all that actually exists within this reality is consciousness, pure conscious energy. That's all that exists. Pure conscious energy, experiencing all there is to experience. If you can come to even an inkling of this understanding, it becomes very difficult to dislike other people. It becomes very difficult to view the world in the same way that you ever looked at it before. Once you understand what the true composition of this reality is, which is simply pure conscious energy, infinite consciousness, manifesting itself as matter, it gives you an entirely new perspective on what this world actually is. Understanding what your connection is to other people, understanding how we are all connected to each other, you begin to wonder how there could be any person in this world starving or homeless, how could there be any wars being fought in this world? Think about it when you're in everyday life. Don't you have a much better time when you're happy and laughing with someone? If this world was allowed to function in a state of abundance the way it should, and everybody was in abundance and wealth was evenly distributed. Now, wealth evenly distributed is not what they're talking about in the Copenhagen project, folks. Nothing like that. I mean all the wealth of the planet, evenly distributed. Everybody helping each other. Everybody working together to create a better world. Everybody understanding the connection to each other and treating each other with respect. I mean, the world would be so happy so easily, and the only thing that is stopping this from happening is governments and corporate exploitation of the planet.